Hi everyone, thanks for joining me on another episode of MTV. Today I'm going to talk about how insulation will make a difference to your building or renovation. And this is one that people often forget when they do the planning. We look at the decorative things and then we forget about how we're going to manage energy. And in the past there were two certain things in life: taxes and death. Add the third one, energy costs. They're only going upwards. And so you need to take this into account in any renovation planning you're doing, because otherwise you're going to forget it and find that the bills will amass and your renovation is not worth what you thought it would be. And the next buyer will take that into account and it will reduce the value of your home. In amongst that, you've lived in a more expensive period in there with all the costs you got from all those energy bills and air conditioning costs. So insulation, if you've got a metal roof or roof tiles, question often comes, do we go with the insulation directly underneath the roofing structure or within the ceiling? The fact is, you'll find there's building wraps that are used. You need to speak with a roof specialist. If you're building onto an existing, whether you've got metal roof or roof tiles, you need to ensure two things. A, you've covered the insulation through the wrap that you have, and ventilation is more important. Otherwise, that condensation that will build up into that roof cavity will create problems back into the dampness onto the ceiling structure. But ceiling bats or ceiling insulation is quite common with the way we use it in Australian construction, and you need to plan for that. So I would treat them separately. You should always have a ceiling insulation to create the optimum insulation property in the home, and that focuses on the R rating, the R value, and the isolation or the building wrap piece is something completely different, where people confuse that as the insulation. You need building wrap and you need roof wrap, but ensure that you've engaged a roofer that knows exactly what they're doing to enable you to have the venting that you're going to require because of the air build up and the changes you're going to get in that cavity with different temperatures from outside. Now the R value, it's a measure of insulation of heat flow, okay, and it's often known as thermal resistance. And over in Europe, they focus on R values far more than what we do here. But the R value, the greater the R value, the greater the insulation property you're going to have. And so you need to remember that sometimes it's not even just about the thickness of the material you're buying. Some people think they're buying ceiling bats, the thicker they are, the greater the R value. But you need to find a product that has a high R value, because these days with the various technologies and the different materials that are used, you can get a high R value with something that might not be as thick as other bats. And so focus on that and understand and speak to the supplier that you're dealing with, or speak to your roofer and maximize that out, because that makes a hell of a difference. Because when you control the heat flow in your ceiling, that then reduces the heat penetration back into the main areas of the room where you need to insulate, when you need to air condition, and that's where your costs are reduced. Now, question comes to us a lot: how do you know whether you could be buying a cheap and nasty insulation material versus something of quality? And this is a real simple one. Not that you need to always go with a brand that's well known and marketed out there, but a reputable brand will have all the data and have the approvals. And that's what you need to look at. Check what approvals they've got. They'll always show you the test reports, or they should make those test reports and the test data available to you. Now, some of it may not make sense. Sometimes you can get confused or blinded by all the technical data that some of these companies will show you. But check what that R value is, and then there should always be a phone number, preferably a toll-free number or a phone number, or even a live chat where you can ask the questions and ask those direct questions to the supplier about what you're getting. So you understand that if you're going with a higher R value product and you're paying more for it, what the expected differences are in a percentage over the time that you're going to live in the home versus an insulation that with a lower R value. Because you might think per square meter the higher R value product is a higher cost. However, what is that going to save you over time? Because the thing is, at least once you've paid for that, you've got a constant payback. The issue with energy costs is that if you've got to keep using your air conditioning to keep the house cooler in the summer months or warmer in the winter months, the issue you have is that is the invariable. That's the variable one, which it's always going to be on the increase, and you can get caught out with that. So at this planning stage, before you start building your roof and putting the ceilings in, do all the research on the insulation, because this is where you actually will invest a lot of saving in the future. And as I said, give value to your home for the future sale. Even if you think to yourself, I'm not going to sell this home, You never know the day when you need to move it on, and you've got a home that you can pass on to someone else with generational value, and you can assure them that you can even show the bills and the energy and the air conditioning costs on where your energy savings are compared to a home with a less R value. It's a focus point that you need to take attention of early on in the piece, so plan it out. So any questions you have on this, please fire them our way. The Monsta crew's here to help you. Our Monsta pros and experts are here to give you a hand and guide you along and to ensure you plan it properly from the start before you get into that building phase. Until next time, I'll see you on MTV.